everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geekwave Geek Out Podcast 2.0. That's right, we're back, and we're ready to go.
Podcast
2.0. This is going to be in replacement of the video show that we normally have on YouTube. We're going to transition back into a podcast because podcasts are the hip new thing that the kids are all into. So
everybody and their mom has a podcast.
Everybody and their Chinese cat's got a podcast, so we're jumping back in onto the bandwagon.
Oddly specific, but I like it.
Anyway, I am your host, Brogan, and I'm joined today by Max, Hartley, and Gavin.
Hey everybody, I'm Max.
H.
Hi.
That was Gavin. That was Gavin's introduction. All right.
What was that, Gavin? You have more confidence on video.
Like usual, we are going to be discussing some of the geekiest things that have happened in the world recently.
So who do we want to start?
You know what? I'm going to start. Mine's not necessarily something I'm geeking out about. It's more like a rant.
Well, it's a thing that happened.
And it's in the geeky culture.
In the world of geek and pop culture.
Okay. So we all know everyone's favorite streamer, Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
For those out there that maybe don't somehow don't know who Ninja is, please tell us who Ninja is.
Ninja's basically the icon of all famous streamers. He was the first esports person to be on Time magazine. So he's really
Shut up. Was he really?
Yes. Did you or Time magazine or ESPN?
I know he got a sponsorship with Nike.
Yeah,
he was in Masked Singer.
Yeah, he's big. And I don't know why his content's not that great.
It's really not.
But
it's really not.
But the thing is he's commonly associated with kids and mainly associated with Fortnite. The three are all basically unison: Fortnite, kids, and Ninja. So
it's true.
Yeah, that's the thing. So he's really popular. He's basically like the front, like the icon of Fortnite, because Fortnite loves him. He'll literally just text the CEO like, "Hey, ban this kid," and then the kid will get banned. Like,
the power.
They're kind of.
He is the god of Fortnite.
They're kind of each other off. You know what I'm saying? Like, So, anyways,
they're shaking each other's salt and pepper.
Yeah. They're stirring up the beehive with the birds. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways. So Fortnite's new season just dropped or something. I'm not 100% sure. I don't play Fortnite. But what they did do is they did include a ninja aesthetic skin.
Yeah,
so,
I was about to ask you if that's what this was about, because I've been Googling Ninja, trying to see why he's suddenly relevant now. And I'm sorry, Ninja, that we're kind of ragging on you, but like...
Oh, it's...
I'm not ragging on him.
That's the thing. That's the skin. That's not even him. And it looks just like him. But the thing is there's levels to it. You start off
it's a
as his
season
icon.
pass.
Yeah, exactly. So you start off as the icon, and the more you get into it, the more you look like Ninja.
Wait, hold up. What?
No, I see. So it's like you unlock his hair, his jacket.
Are you kidding me?
And then like his logo. No, so that's the new thing, right? Loot boxes are becoming outdated, so they're doing a season pass. So instead of a random drop, you get a confirmed drop, and you see this giant list. And
you just pay a flat price.
You pay a flat price to get XP to unlock those tiers, and then if you want to get higher, you can pay more money to skip certain tiers.
Oh my god.
But this way, it's not gambling because you see what you're getting. But sometimes certain items are either only available during a season, or they cycle them through and you just hope it's in that season and you hope you level up enough to get that item.
So
Halo's doing a similar thing, but not really. It looks and similar, like the Halo Reach system that we talked about last Geek Out, looks very similar to it, but it's more of like a level up guarantee thing.
Personally,
this one's
but it's free. It's free. You get cosmetics no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what, you get the free one.
And if you pay, you can get better cosmetics along the way. It's really popular. Call of Duty does it.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six actually just dropped their first battle pass yesterday.
Interesting.
So
Apex does it.
Apex does it as well.
And like what it is like, right, you get something at, like, for the free one you get something at 1, 5, 10, but everything in between you don't really get anything. In the
And
battle
those-
pass, you get something for everything.
Yeah. So it's not a bad system.
It's a step in the right direction.
Right?
I'll
Yeah.
give it that.
Yes.
It's definitely better than loot boxes.
Yes. But anyways, so for all of you that now know who Ninja is and now know what the battle pass system is, basically you start off with this this basic character, and then progressively as you get closer to like level 100, which would take a lot of time, you get to unlock and become Ninja. So this is kind of a rant because it really just because I was telling you that they're all basically the same thing: kids, Fortnite,
Yes.
and Ninja.
Yep.
This just emulsifies them even more. They are now like literally embedded. Kids are now
They are becoming ninja.
kids are now Ninja.
They're ninja clones.
Ninja is Fortnite, and Fortnite is the kids. Like
it's
no
it's an
different.
Ouroboros. It's an endless
Exactly.
cycle.
Exactly. It's like it's like a magneton. Like the three are just connected for life.
Yeah, or a Doug trio.
Yeah, they just appear. Like they were a magneton, or they were a Diglett, or they were Magnemite, or they were a Diglett, and all of a sudden you look back, and they're all three
Before you
together.
know it.
Yeah,
They hit level 32, and they're a Doug trio.
exactly.
And now there's 2 more of them.
Yeah. So like, I it just blows my mind. I mean, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really cool to have that.
That have like this person in a video game, because that's especially now with technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Skyrim grandma, she's going to be in the Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh
You
my
guys heard
gosh.
about that? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because she was.
I can't believe you didn't hear about that.
No.
That's some pretty big news.
I'm not a fantasy fanboy as much as
okay.
most people are.
You're just a roleplay fanboy.
Yeah.
You know what this whole cosmetic system you're talking about reminds me of? This whole like the more you level up, like the better your cosmetics are and stuff.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the level 100 boss meme. Do you remember those memes?
Oh my gosh, yes. Where
From the
it's
old-
like level 5 thug,
yeah.
level 100
level
boss.
5 thug,
Thug.
level 100 boss.
Oh,
That's
wow,
that's
that's
what
an
it reminds
oldie.
me of.
That's like 2017, wasn't
Was
it?
it that old?
No,
It was from that stupid
2018?
mobile
Oh my
game,
God, yeah.
Mafia something.
Yeah,
That
well,
Facebook pushed.
RP or RPK Arena or whatever.
Yeah, it's just something.
AFK
That's what it
Arena.
reminds me of.
Yeah.
You hit level 100, baby. You're that Mafia boss.
But like the thing
That
is,
ninja
is
boss.
that- yeah, if we're talking about the battle pass, like it's just different because like growing up, bro, like to get those rare armors like in Halo,
you
like
had
Halo
to
Reach,
work.
you had to put in work. Like
If you
Same
wanted
with these
if you
battle
wanted
passes,
the
too.
Well,
if you
battle
wanted the
passes
Hayabusa
just-
armor in Halo 3,
Oh,
you
yeah.
had to beat that game on legendary.
yeah,
And that's legit.
It's
I mean, it
hard.
was so much more rewarding
yeah,
than
But, like,
slapping
the
your
thing-
mom's credit card online, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a grind. Like I just barely got to where I wanted to be on the battle pass for Call of Duty because it gives you free guns.
That's
Yeah.
the
Free
thing
guns
though.
that are exclusive.
It's
to
it's a
the battle
boring
pass.
grind.
It can be. I mean, like it has challenges that can make you go
It's
faster.
like monotonous, right?
But
'Cause
it's
just the
yeah.
same.
But in the battle royales, it's got to be just grindy because unlike Call of Duty, where you can just constantly pop off people, Fortnite or like Apex is just like you have to hunt down other players, which is time consuming.
Apex Battle Pass does an interesting thing where it gives you a weekly thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's top 3 ones that are like 6 steps or 4 steps, and they're never kills. It's always like land at these locations at the start of the game. And so everyone, it's forcing players to land in
Right.
certain locations, right, for their Battle Pass achievement, and that causes fights, which is nice because it that way you always will either land somewhere spicy or you might get lucky and land somewhere not spicy, but it's always encouraging combat there. And those, when you accomplish those, you just immediately get the next tier.
Yeah.
And then the other achievements where it's just like headshot 3 people with a sniper rifle, that's like here's 300 XP to the battle pass. You don't necessarily get the next tier, but like they give you 3 next tier things each week for like the next 10 weeks, so you can guarantee get to level 30 or like halfway through the battle pass just by landing somewhere, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm not huge into the whole live service games scene. It's never really been my thing, you know. I'll occasionally play a game like that with some friends, but it's just not my scene. It's just not my thing. So
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty big on shooters and
what I
keeping up.
really don't want is to see that kind of thing creeping into your single player games and stuff. That's what really That's what really terrifies me.
Oh, did you guys also see Cyberpunk's multiplayer got pushed back? Well,
Cyberpunk
It got pushed back.
as a whole got pushed back to September.
September.
Did you not hear?
Yeah, September 17th.
No. Max, man, you haven't been on the internet lately, have you?
No.
They said they want to polish it off more.
Yeah.
September 17th.
That's fine. I'm not disappointed that they're pushing it back.
it's
I'm
still
just
this
disappointed
year.
myself for not knowing that.
But the multiplayer got pushed back to 2021.
I forgot they were doing multiplayer too.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun.
It's kind of cool they're doing it
Interesting.
separately.
Yeah.
2020 is the year of delayed games. Absolutely.
was
there
another
are
game
so
that
many
was
delayed games.
What else got delayed today? Another game. got delayed
Final
today.
Fantasy remake.
The Final Fantasy remake got pushed back. Last of Us 2 got pushed back.
Some other game got pushed back, but Final Fantasy and the other game, no one really cared.
It was the new Watch Dogs Legion got pushed back. Like
Yeah,
all
there's
all these
another
games are getting pushed back. Everything's getting pushed back.
There's just a ton
Animal
of games
Crossing got pushed
and no one
back. Didn't
cares.
Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing care. A lot of people care about that one.
Animal Crossing got pushed back. Man, it's just the. I don't know.
It's
becoming a habit. It's
Yeah.
becoming a habit.
Well, with Project Red, I was honestly impressed they were going to get it out when they did.
It's
but
true.
they also
It's
said
true.
it's going to be made for this gen console.
Right. And that's one thing that kind of blew my mind is that is literally right before next gen consoles come out. Like, why not wait for another?
Because-
Why not prep it for another month or two and then release it on next gen? You know what I mean?
Because they're good people. and
Because they care. It's
They
true.
care, yes.
It's true. CD Projekt Red is the
It's
most
one of
the most respectable AAA studio at the moment, and I hope it stays that way because they are
CD Projekt Red's nice.
fantastic.
They do have some controversies with it, but they seem to handle them better and well than other companies for sure.
Don't you all have
Better
cell
than-
phones?
Better than Tarkov at least. Tarkov was under heat because
Oh, Tarkov.
they did the Assassin's Creed Unity shtick because people were asking for that game to get female models, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their two excuses was it's too hard to code and model that. That's not a fun one to. That's not a good excuse.
And
the second one
it
was
doesn't
like,
fit in the lore.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in the like historical lore of this place. And it's like, I mean,
Does any of this really?
I don't. Yeah, it's
I mean,
a fictional place, right?
I
And it feels weird to
actually,
do that.
I actually just wrote a paper on this,
Angry letter.
a 3 or 4 page paper on this, about this exact topic, and it's, I mean, it's
tricky, right?
I think the issue stems from the fact that they are most likely lying about the reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally believe that games are a form of art. You know, like a painting or a poem. I don't know. They are a form of art, and the person in charge, the developers and the people creating it, should be free to follow their own artistic vision.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to include females in it, all power to them. If they don't, all power to them. You know, you're not going to get mad at somebody because they didn't put a female in their painting or something, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when people are like, hey, we want, female characters, you can't just be like, it's too hard.
It's
You know-
it's like what Gavin said earlier. What you don't have phones. That's not how you respond to that.
No, it's really not.
You
It's
just
really
accept
not.
people aren't going to like this. All right, and move on. Or
Yeah.
like, play with it and be like, I know.
I mean,
this is what's happening.
I'm
and I
even
have no
kind of
control over it.
okay along those same lines. I'm even kind of okay with the excuse of it doesn't fit into the lore of the story that we wanted to tell. You know,
But see, that's a way better way to say that than how
exactly.
they said it too.
It's so true, and it's so true. If they had just said the story we want to tell surrounds like this band of men in this environment. And having, a female playable protagonist wouldn't necessarily work for the story we wanted to tell. Wording it something like that would have been fine.
It would have gone on.
It would have
gone over way better than.
I shouldn't
it's
say
too
fine.
hard, and it's not historically accurate because it's not. Yeah, the way they worded it was bad, and they could have worded it better.
It just was worded very poorly.
Oh, God,
they
it was such a
they
bad
chose
response.
they chose some very poor words.
Mm-hmm.
Was this what you wanted to bring up?
It wasn't what I wanted to
No,
bring
I
up.
segued us twice in that one
But
segment.
That's fine.
this is what the Geekwave podcast is all about.
Yeah, no, I just
We are
wanted to
we are
make
free
sure.
to just talk about the stuff that is happening in the world. Jumping back a touch to the topic of next gen consoles, though, you guys might have heard that Xbox is
Xbone.
Xbone. Wait, what even? I think people are calling the next one Sexbox
Yes.
because it's Xbox Series X. So everyone's just calling it Sexbox.
Let's be honest, we've been calling the Xbox the Sexbox since we were 12.
I have not. I have not.
Apparently, NPR did a survey about which console players get it the most, and Xbox was the leading one.
Hell yeah.
But also, how do you do that kind of survey?
Spy on people's webcams.
Because it's like, that's so what you're saying is
I
Xbox
think-
the biggest liars.
I think we're finding out why Microsoft really did release the Kinect. It was all just part of a social experiment.
surveys.
Just they're like, all right.
We gotta find out which gamers are getting it more.
Base is getting late.
Guaranteed PC gamers are at the bottom of that list. PC Master Race gamers.
Well, they didn't even include them. It was
I'm
Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox.
You know what? Well, okay. Besides the majority of Nintendo players that are kids, I would imagine the Nintendo players are pretty high up there. They're always so
Getting
cool
it?
and hip, yeah.
Oh yeah, they just don't talk about it. Cause
Not only that,
Yeah, with
but
the Switch on the
Nintendo
box.
gamers are like the super casual gamers that are like,
sweet. They're best to be around.
you know,
There's
everybody,
competitive
you know, we're
Smash.
talking about, you know, captain of the high school football team, banging all the ladies or guys, what I don't know what they do, and I don't know. I'm trying to be inclusive.
Brogan's like, I don't know how sex works.
It's 2020. I'm trying to be inclusive. You know, they're being cool, they're being chill, and then on the side, it's like, you know, I might hit up some Super Smash on my Nintendo Switch. I got 30 minutes before the next girl comes over, and
30 minutes?
Oh my gosh.
get in a couple rounds of.
Oh, this is starting to sound like when the news was doing that thing and they kept making up weird sex activities they thought teenagers were doing or that stuff, like rainbow parties.
Yes. Oh yes.
This is starting to sound like that.
Anyway, we are really getting off topic here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep segueing. Let's go.
No, the podcast is actually called Brogan Teaches Sex Ed. So Brogan,
No, that's my other podcast, Gavin. That's my
continue
second
telling
Great
podcast.
segue for that plug there.
I'm sure you guys have heard, but Microsoft has decided that all of the next-gen Xbox games are going to be playable on both Xbox Series X and Xbox One for at least a year and a half.
That's nice, yeah.
Which I think is really cool. And everybody's like, boo.
Really?
Yeah, so many people were complaining and like, boo,
they're just
Xbox,
like-
that's stupid.
they're like, take my money.
How? In my mind, I'm like,
Weren't we angry about backwards compatibility and now they're
Yeah.
offering like a pseudo solution
let's-
to that?
well, to be fair, it was just a bunch of people being salty on Twitter. Twitter is like the most toxic place on the planet.
Dude, if my popcorn's not salted enough, I just open up Twitter, you know? Just
No
let it
kidding.
go.
No
Man,
kidding.
It's over since then, honestly.
I think it
Gotta hold that at distance.
actually works perfectly for me because I just upgraded my Xbox to the One X just over a year ago.
That's what prevented me from buying the X. Is I was like, next gen's right here.
But I'm still rocking a 2014 version of the PS4. So this gives me
Dude, same.
the opportunity to upgrade my PlayStation to the PS5 and then wait a year and a half and still play all the cool new games coming out for Xbox. But then I don't have to actually upgrade my Xbox for exclusivity reasons until like 2021. Gavin,
You are swinging.
for those who can't see right now, Gavin has his water bottle in his mouth and he's swinging it around like an elephant's trunk.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
More water to appear.
Anyway, Microsoft has provided me the perfect solution to my first world console upgrading predicament.
Didn't they almost do that with the 360 to the One? Because I remember for Christmas, I asked for Destiny, and my mom got me it, but it was for the 360. And I was like, this is the right game, wrong console, but... And she felt so bad, and I was like, you got me the game, though. Like, I can just go exchange it. It's fine. And so I went and exchanged it for the Xbox One because I wanted to play on that.
It was a little bit different because
I don't think it was a year, though.
they were it was about a year.
Okay.
The difference there was it was a different kind of disc. So like if you
Yeah,
bought
exactly.
the Xbox One version, it would not play on your Xbox 360.
So no matter what disc you buy,
So it's
plays
all
on
going to
both
be one
new and
disc,
old
correct?
Oh,
So it's not going to have
the big stuff. Okay,
It's
that
not
makes
going to
more
have an
sense.
Xbox One disc and an Xbox Series X disc, and you just have to buy the right one. No, it's going to be just one disc. You buy it and can play it on either one.
Well, my example is perfect for why that's a great solution. My mom didn't know what console to buy it on,
Right.
so she
Why
went
would
with what she
people
guessed.
be mad about
that and that is what I don't understand.
That's also
People
super
were so
eco-friendly
mad.
too. Why are you
That's
guys mad about
so-
that?
People were so salty about it. And I
Dumb.
have no idea why.
It's like pseudo saving the planet because now you don't print the same game on two different things and then have one oversell and one undersell. And then
Is it physical copies? Is that still? Because I remember when they initially said they were like on the design, they were like, yeah, there's no.
They
disc.
tried doing that for Xbox One, and
Oh, the
they
dickless-
did
the
they
discless-
get driven into the ground.
Because I love having a disc. Although it is now
It's
I'm
nice for the
realizing
download
becoming inconvenient because now I'm like my friends are like, oh, let's switch over to Call of Duty. I'm like, oh, that means I have to get out of my blanket. But then I'm also like, I'm appreciative that I have a library
See,
of discs.
I
that
think
approve my
it's
purchase.
looks
this new
nice.
generation. It's us that grew up in like the 90s and the early 2000s that were used to like cartridges.
Yes.
Before we ever had to do discs, that's what we grew up with. It's just I feel like it's almost a nostalgia factor for me.
And also, I just remember, when I wanted to do gaming, I wanted to game a lot. My first game console was GameCube, and I would just have all my games that I wanted to play that day set up right next to it. And
Exactly.
I'm like, the GameCube's right next to me, and I'm like, too close to the TV probably. And I'm playing the game, and I'm like, I feel like this. So I pause it, turn it off, and then I switch the disc.
The GameCube,
It's all right there.
probably, I would honestly say, one of the best consoles of all time.
I'm in that same boat
The
with you.
GameCube was pretty intense. It was pretty awesome. And let's not forget, it remains the only console to date that had a handhold.
Yes, I was gonna say
It had a handle.
I was gonna say it was so portable.
It was so portable.
Unplug it and then just carry it by the handle. Like,
It had the little mini discs.
yeah,
Wasn't it the
and then-
worst selling console too, though?
Oh, no, I don't think the GameCube was. GameCube sold pretty well, if I remember
Okay.
correctly.
Did you have a GameCube?
Yeah, that was my first console.
Did you have a GameCube?
I did have a GameCube.
And I had that's 3 for 3. I
Yeah.
mean, statistically, 100% of the population probably owned a GameCube.
Yeah. Every last person on Earth, even those who didn't have TVs.
I mean, it was for the people that missed the Nintendo 64 and were like, "Oh man, like I had to go to my friend's house to play the Nintendo 64. I'm not letting that happen again." GameCube came out and everybody was like,
And the GameCube
Give me.
had bangers of games.
"It
Oh,
really
yeah, it
did."
did.
The GameCube had a great library.
Metroid Prime.
Super Smash.
It's
What? Mario Sunshine.
Super Mario
Monkey Ball,
Sunshine. Yep.
Bangers. Just
Star Wars X-Wing.
There was. Do you remember a game called? I think it was called Monster Island.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a game!
What a-
I spent
Chibi
so
Robo,
many
Samurai
hours.
Jack.
Yeah. So many.
Let's
yeah.
not forget Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. What a game!
Never played that.
What a game
Nearby,
that
but I've
was.
seen the full playthrough. It's a great
Pokemon
game.
Coliseum was
Oh,
on the GameCube.
Pokemon Coliseum is one of my favorite games of all time.
Nintendo, bring
I-
back the GameCube.
I literally rented it from what was it, Blockbuster? Because
that's
those still
right.
existed.
oh
And
my
then
gosh.
We've just turned into a nostalgia podcast.
And then yeah. No,
a
what I did-
1990s
yeah.
and early 2000s
That was all my
nostalgia cast.
GameCube
So I
games
went and
played
returned
from
it, and
Blockbuster.
then I returned it. It's a Blockbuster, and then they were like, okay, cool, and then I just pocketed it when I.
Oh, Gavin!
It was the only thing I've ever stolen when I was like a kid. I mean, I stole other things later, but then
Gavin.
So Gavin, I have unfortunate news. This has been the longest con by Blockbuster. You thought it was dead, but this is to catch you.
There's
I'm
still-
actually wearing a wire.
there's still one more.
Second plot twist. Gavin single-handedly was the reason Blockbuster went out of business.
My
That one game
my
they were
one
like-
theft, they were like, that's
Wait, we have one game. Opens up bag. It's not there.
We're $40 away from going bankrupt if we have one more game stolen.
well, no, I stole it. So the way I stole it is I returned it, and I went back looking like I was perusing, and I went to the one that already had a
Gavin.
game in it, and I just.
Oh, Gavin, I can't believe you.
And now that's why we have Netflix.
Is Game
You can't pocket it from Netflix.
Is Game Pass really such a bad thing? But that's the thing about downloading is you don't actually own the game.
Yeah.
So
Discs
at
are really
at
nice
any
because
point,
of that.
Yeah, at any point they want to remove it from you, they can. Like if you break their licensing agreement by I don't know. I don't even know. I know
Hurting their brand or whatever.
Yeah. Then they can remove it from you. It's legally allowed. Like Keurig, If they find you using other products, yeah. If they find you using any Keurig cup or K-cups that are not by Keurig, they can like digitally disable your device from their.
Are you serious?
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Wow.
I'm now happy my mom bought me an off-brand Keurig.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you press the power button and it heats up the water.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Wow.
That's
wild.
That's why I like everything to be mine. That's why I will never buy digitally downloaded shoes.
You know, there are people out there that are. Sorry to breeze over your joke there. That was quite humorous,
Okay,
Gavin.
thank you.
There are people out there that are like, digital is the future, man. Like, give it like 2 years and discs will be gone. You know,
They said the same thing about
I don't
CDs
believe
and
that.
records, and they're still kicking.
Vinyls are coming back.
I'm
Like,
buying
okay.
vinyls right now.
But
My favorite.
there will always be a market for physical media.
Well, I think so, but that's the thing is maybe we're just boomers now, like us in our generation.
You know, if I am,
Okay, boomer. Oh,
I'm just
no, Gavin, you're
I'm
right.
just saying.
if I am,
we're like, yeah,
then I'm screw it. I'm happy to
Yeah,
be a boomer.
that's the thing is
If
I'm
enjoying
content with
physical media makes me a boomer, then goddamn it, I'm a boomer.
yeah, okay.
And I'm proud.
Well,
I'm a boomer.
We'll be
I'm
a different.
Gosh
term.
darn fat man
But-
boomer.
But like that's the thing is like it's old people thinking. We're like, I need a digital copy or I need a physical copy. But
there's just something about cracking open that case,
Yeah, the smell.
taking a
just
big
owning
whiff
it.
of that fresh disc.
Getting a
know.
game and reading the whole package on the ride home in the passenger seat
Exactly.
of the car.
It's just great, but that's just it. It's outdated thinking. Digital download is the way. It's saving trees. It's convenient. It's so convenient because you
Oh
don't
my
have to
gosh,
leave
it's
your
so convenient.
nest blanket. You just switch over your games. It's because all my friends all digitally download and they're like,
especially with consoles nowadays, where you literally just hit the home button and you go to the other game, you hit play, and
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
I'm going to close this game for you. Then
That's
it's like
what
perfect,
I'm
and
saying.
I'm also going to save it.
Also,
Perfect.
have you heard the new feature that Xbox is including with their new console? This is just speculation, but I have it on good authority. I believe they are going to have up to 5 suspended applications at one time.
that's nice.
Meaning that you could have one game going, pause the game, go back to your home screen, watch some Netflix, go back, open up a second game, play some of this game online with your friends. I've got to take my dog to the dentist. Pause that game, jump back to your single player game. It's still right where you left off.
I was
You don't
so
have to go back
hoping
to
you
the
were
home
doing
screen.
the whole like, I got to lie to my friends to play my single player game right now.
No, you don't have to. They go to the bathroom. Okay, I've got 70 seconds to play my single player game before they come back. And
Or
you
if
can
you're-
just
Or if you're my
swap
friends,
right
they got
over.
like a good half hour.
I mean, before it'd take you that whole 70 seconds just to get through the main menu and load up your game, and then
Customize
they're back.
your
I gotta
stuff.
get back into playing that Fortnite.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's convenient. I'm really have high expectations for.
I mean, it's a
the new
simple
console.
feature, but it could be pretty cool.
I didn't.
It
have,
could be cool.
Well, let's be honest. When the Xbox One was announced, were you guys super stoked about it?
I was excited for the games that are coming out
No,
on it.
you weren't.
Yeah, I was. I was excited for Destiny.
Destiny. Okay, yeah, me too.
I won't lie. I was in Taiwan when they announced it, so I actually didn't know about the Xbox One for like half a year after they announced it.
You came back. You're like, what is this?
Xbox what?
Xbox One. It showed. You want to know? Okay, here's the funny thing. So I was in Taiwan. You want to know how I found out about the Xbox One? I went shopping at Costco because that's a thing in Taiwan. They have Costco, and I was just wandering around, and I went to the 3rd floor where they have their furniture and electronics, and they had like this really nice display case with like the spotlight that was shining on it. I'm like, what is this? What is this that I see? And it was the Xbox One.
Interesting. So
That's like the most fun way to discover a console. I
It
feel.
was announced.
I just happened upon it.
made.
Yeah.
And the time that's crazy.
Yeah,
Fuck wild.
they did like no advertising for it. It just suddenly was like, surprise,
you
Xbox
go.
One.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, I was no one was really stoked about the Xbox One when it was announced.
Hey, I was stoked.
Both. It was
Well,
like the
when
thing
it-
was
when
like
it
people were
announced-
excited about the games for both PS4 and Xbox One, but the actual consoles, everyone was just like, I mean, it's just an upgrade. All they bragged about was graphics and that stuff, and nothing better.
They initially took away more because with the Xbox
Yeah,
One,
and then they took away
they were
backwards
compatibility, and you couldn't game share.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you bought,
Mhm,
and they announced
mhm.
if you bought a disc and you wanted to give it to your friend, like, say you finish, I'm trying to think of an Xbox exclusive. That's
I finished
Good.
Halo 4.
I said that's good.
Gears of War?
I finished Gears of War's campaign. I'm not gonna play the multiplayer yet. Here, Dad. Here, go play Gears of War. Because I lend games to my dad sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And so, like, if we didn't just completely just shit on Xbox for that idea, that would be a thing. That was literally
awful.
Well, it was just so money grabby.
I mean, also Xbox was the one that brought back backwards compatibility. PS4 tried to, but it's not exactly what we want because they're streaming the game to the console.
Exactly. So Xbox is doing fine now. I just like how the community is like,
we don't want this, and they were like,
at the same time,
got it.
At the same time, if we're shitting on them for giving us what we initially wanted,
who are we really?
Yeah, are they gonna listen to us anymore? You gotta listen to me because I know what I want.
I mean, like the thing there, right? Is we're consumers, and they're trying to sell us a product, and if we're like no, then they don't sell the product. So their goal, right, is to sell the product. And if we don't want the buy, if we're adamantly saying we're not going to buy the product, then they change it.
I just want my digitally downloadable.
I think with these consoles, I think kind of what their plan is going forward is kind of like a PC, where instead of having to buy an entire new unit every couple of years, we're kind of at a point where
technology just hit a point.
You buy the console. So let's say you buy the Xbox Series X, and then you just upgrade it. They may say, here's a new hard drive for your Xbox Series X, and you just buy the individual part and swap it out, kind of a thing.
If that's a thing, I wouldn't mind. But I mean, that was one of the nice things about growing up. And you just buy an Xbox, is like that's just guaranteed good for like 10 years.
It's true.
So
it's true.
That was one of the nice things. I mean, if you have to upgrade it, I mean, it'll make kids a little bit have to be a little more tech savvy. Because I'm going to be honest, I was not very tech savvy until I joined the Geekwave, and I had to be.
I have kind of two topics. The first one is I invested and built my first home PC, so I'm no longer on a laptop anymore all the time to game. And if you guys want to see what's in it, I took a picture pre-building it.
Wow.
It was $1,280.
A GTX
That's not
670. Classy.
Like the actual graphics card, it was better than the 570. I was going to buy I think I was going to get the GTX 5070, and then this graphics card is like 2 levels higher than that, and it was $50 less.
I won't lie.
I jumped on that.
I really don't understand the Radeon
they would
graphics cards.
Better.
Like GTX makes it so nice. NVIDIA makes it so nice because it's just 970, 1070. 1080, like it's incremental. But with like the Radeon ones, it's like
Mac.
Who knows what you're actually getting.
That's
like,
funny.
And if we swipe, and so I went to work and I had my boss help me. I'm swiping the wrong way.
I like that. The muffins.
We built it, and here it is running in the case. It's a chroma case. We turned it on, right? And about the chroma case, we turned it on. And my other boss was sitting at the same table, and she went, "There's smoke," and we pulled the plug out of the computer. The RGB of those fans is already hooked up to the case already, so that button controls the RGB. We didn't realize that, and so we had this RGB cord made for the motherboard, and so we had that plugged in. Apparently, it causes circuits to meet in the middle and fry that area of the circuit board. And
that's fun.
It's a 3-prong insert, and 4 prongs were there. And we read online, if you put it too far to the left, it kills the fans. If you put it too far to the right, it will kill the RGB cord that you plugged in. We did it too far to the right, so that cord's now kind of broken. So if I want to include more RGB, I can't, which is fine. I'm not planning to. But yeah, building a PC, it's simple but scary.
That sounds horrific.
It was terrifying to hit power the second time, but now it's working, and I have been installing games on it constantly. There was, at the bottom of it was obviously the brand of the computer company, and so I decided to put a nice
that's cool
sticker on it that's what's it called, holographic, so it goes through the spectrum with the fans.
That's cool.
So yeah, PCs are fun and terrifying to build sometimes.
Very nice, Max.
But yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, and the second thing I wanted to bring up was Jedi: The Fallen Order.
I haven't played it. I own it, but I have yet to play it.
Congratulations, everybody. Star Wars is now a Dark Soul.
That's what I hear. I hear
It
it's.
is
I
so
hear
much
it's
Dark
a
Souls-y.
blend of like Dark Souls and Uncharted.
Yep.
That's what I hear.
Exactly what it is. So you get to a map and it's pretty much open world, but it's pretty linear because you don't have all the powers yet to go throughout the whole open world. And as you kill enemies, you'll reach a point and it's this like runes and it's glowing and it's called a meditation spot. And you sit there, and at the meditation spot you level up.
Mm-hmm.
You can rest, which refills your health and all your health vials, as well as respawns all the enemies in the area.
Classic.
And then you can leave it. The XP you get from killing people goes down so significantly that it's not like a grinding like Dark Souls is, where you go to a bonfire, you kill people, go back to it, grind again and again. It doesn't level you up that well. You're supposed to really just kind of get through the area. It's very buggy in certain aspects of the game. Like, it's not polished, it feels like. There's, like, planets that very clearly were finished and polished first, and others were not, and they were left to not be that way. A theory I heard that I feel is accurate is this game is made by Respawn. And Respawn was working on it for a long time, and then they dropped Apex, and then were getting criticized because Apex isn't updating enough to stay relevant. And so they...
Interesting.
And they openly said they moved a lot of the team from one game to Apex, and everyone thought that was the Titanfall 3 team. I'm starting to think it was also Fallen Order's team, because there's some parts of this game that just crash my PS4, and I'm like, oh, that's rough. Like, God of War doesn't crash my PS4, but this game does, which is a shame.
I will say I was one of those Apex players that was criticizing them.
No, it was a fair criticism.
It was a fun game, and it felt fresh, renewed, and then
it got stale quick.
They just didn't add anything. It was just the same thing over and over again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind winning a bunch.
Oh, Gavin.
But like, it was just so boring. Just because there was no balancing. The same weapons were overpowered. The same weapons were underpowered. And then they changed it up. When they did, it was so nice. And so I've actually been wanting to play Apex recently because
I got the battle pass for the last one.
Did you?
Yeah, me and my friends were playing it.
Yeah. I'm not about that life. I'm not about that life.
Got a lot of swaggy looking guns and skins.
I've got other things I need to spend my money on.
I thought the Fallen Order or whatever. There's so many Star Wars things. By the way, the new Star Wars movie, you guys saw it, right?
No spoilers, please.
I did see it. Okay, let's not talk about that until Max sees it, and then we'll talk about it.
Pre-warn you, the internet, as you
can't tell.
A lot of people have been like, it's awful and it ruins the entire series. I know that much.
I thought that's what Last Jedi did.
I hated The Last Jedi.
I think this one kind of helped recover a little bit.
Honestly,
like, I'm not going in with high hopes to begin with, anyway. So
I didn't.
Honestly, just here's how I would imagine it. Imagine you come in here, and you're about to record, and you're about to have all this fun time. We're about to do our podcast.
Yeah.
And you look on the table.
Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, I'm in it.
Okay. And there's a nutty turd on the table.
Awful.
And
I already have left to the door.
What the heck is this analogy?
Just listen. And the second you open the door, you can smell it.
I
the second
turned
you
around
flip
and left.
on the light, it's there on the table, and it's just revolting and gross.
I immediately turned around.
Exactly. It's just, that's what you want to do. There's so many things in there.
What the heck was that analogy?
I'm calling.
It's pulling from personal experience. It feels
I'm calling
like
the movie a nutty turd.
Yeah, you could have just said it was crap.
But think about it. It's not as disheartening as walking in to something you're excited for, and it just being not just regular.
So you anticipated it, like you knew about it before you turned the lights on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, You got the breath of foul air.
You're like, oh, this is gonna be bad. I already know it.
And then it's worse than you anticipated. It's not just something left in the trash.
I don't know if I would say that.
You're being a little too harsh, Gavin.
You're being a little harsh.
Well, we'll talk about it
when I see it.
We'll talk about it when Max sees it.
But
yeah, I'll probably see it this coming weekend since I'm doing toe surgery this weekend.
Talk about.
Oh, don't worry. Oh, don't get me started. We'll talk about that. We'll have a whole spoiler-filled discussion about it once Max sees it.
Sorry,
I want to say one more thing though about Jedi Fallen Order is with the whole like Night Turds. This is a game made by Respawn and EA. ugh. This game doesn't have microtransactions, and this game is actually fun to play. With all of its with all my things saying it's not polished and that stuff, I actually find myself wanting to go back and playing more. Like, I enjoy the world it's building, which is in between the clone. It's like right after the Clone Wars and before the actual trilogy. So like it opens up with you taking apart a clone ship, and you find an old Jedi Knight fighter crashed into that ship, and
cool.
all that stuff, and the lightsaber customization.
Oh, people love it.
I love that.
People love
I've
it.
unlocked a rose gold medal to the lightsaber.
That's pretty cool.
And so I can the customization's really well done, and I really enjoy it a lot. The robot customization, love that too. The ship customization, love that too. They just give you patterns, and they all look amazing. The outfit you wear, though, it's only ponchos or just the suit he's wearing under it, different color schemes. And I'm like, this is nothing but ponchos. And
I like ponchos. I think they look
I
cool.
enjoy ponchos, but when I unlock a box and I'm like, is it a lightsaber part? Nope, it's a 40th poncho. And I would have taken anything else but the poncho. And there's just, I would love like a cape maybe, or like an
Oh, this guy,
like, it's all ponchos.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Trying to be a
right?
hero.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Is beggars can't be
I
choosers.
remember when the game first released, and I found it humorous because I don't follow a lot of like mainstream reviews anymore, just because they're far too biased. So I used to watch like the IGN reviews and the GameSpot reviews, and I just can't do it anymore because I don't know if they're getting paid off or what, but I don't know. I can't do it anymore. It's too ridiculous.
Looks nervous over there.
So I know Gavin wants to work for IGN. You're going to be one of them, Gavin.
Or you're going to be the change that it needs.
That's what I'm hoping.
So I don't follow a lot of these like very mainstream media sources. Most of my outlets are like these.
Tell me some names of your outlets.
So Youngye, I probably don't know him.
I do not.
But I listen to a lot of his stuff. There's just like these random like YouTubers calling out Youngye. What a great guy. Go listen to him. That's YONGYEA. Go give him a subscribe. He's a great guy. But I listen to a lot. I follow a lot of these just kind of like random YouTubers doing their own thing.
Okay, I was gonna say.
And all of them, the title of like all their videos when they were doing reviews for this game was EA actually published a decent Star Wars game. Like all of them were like
good to play.
They were all like so taken aback. They were like I can't believe this. EA just has such a terrible
it's weird. It's
track
not like
record.
A great game, but it's a good game though. It's not a broken game. It's not any of this. It's
not
still
riddled with microtransactions.
It feels like a game that came out like years ago, but that's still not bad. It feels nice
it's
to play.
fine.
Dude, when you actually reflect bolts back at stormtroopers, it is heavy and it feels brutal.
Want to know
because
what
those bolts feel heavy and lethal, and it's just like they shoot and you just go bam, and then they're down, and it's just I feel like I committed a war crime. This doesn't feel good. Like
they're just clones.
Yeah, they're clones.
You want to know what the most ironic part of the whole situation is with this EA publishing thing, though? It was no more than maybe a year ago that EA came out and publicly said that single-player games were dead.
Yeah.
They were like, we are changing our model
But my homeboys Respawn, man.
to be strictly multiplayer because nobody is interested in single player anymore. Single player is dead.
And they announced in that
and then Spider-Man comes and freaking T-poses on them.
Well, yeah, we're going to model our system after Ubisoft with Rainbow Six Siege.
They came back and they shot themselves in the crotch by making one of the most popular games of the year. And it was a single-player game.
Yeah, right? The most popular game they ever released.
Oh, EA, you silly boys. You silly fools.
Also, they do a really good job in this game with the dual saber upgrade. I will say, when you find, like, the way you find upgrades is there's just, like, these workbenches in the world. The dual saber there's no cinematography. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's a great upgrade. It's just something you find, and so it's kind of like falls flat a little bit. But the way it works is not like it's a straight upgrade and now you're more powerful. It's a different fighting style that helps you with crowds. Because when you have that first one saber, it gets scary when you're surrounded by a bunch of troopers. But when you have the dual saber, suddenly you're able to like actually handle multiple people at once, which is really nice. They do a really good job with the game design in this game.
Sorry, I was just, when you're like, it's good with crowds, I was like, bro, what's going on in this Jedi game? They call Order 66 and you're like, all right.
Time to get the second one out.
You're like, all right, where are the kids at?
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, to wrap us up for today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about the most recent Pokemon announcement. You know me, resident Pokemon master.
They added a Fire Emblem
Gavin
character.
probably doesn't follow Pokemon enough to
are you
even know.
talking about how they're doing the DLC?
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Dude, come on, keep up with everything.
You never fail to
Where do you
surprise me,
work out?
Gavin.
The
You never fail to
library?
surprise me. It's garnered. It's garnered a little bit of controversy.
I've had very long
I've
discussions about this.
heard about this
actually.
controversy. I want you to explain first.
Yeah, bro, you can explain it better.
So I'm a little more moderate. I mean, similar to politics, you've got like the crazies on both sides. So you've got the people that are like, "Boo! This is just a scam to sell us back Pokemon," and then you've got the other side that's Nintendo, Pokemon, take my money, take everything I own, take my virginity, and
All right.
It was disproven. That's Xbox players.
oh, okay,
That's right. We talked about this earlier.
I was definitely, when I first heard about the whole Nat Dex thing, you know, cutting the national Dex, I was definitely one of those that was very upset. I kind of mellowed out a little.
Videos about that.
I definitely mellowed out and was just like, you know what, I'm just going to let it be. I ended up playing the game. Had a lot of missing potential, I would say. Okay, so here's my take. Here's my 2 cents currently on the whole DLC thing. And I'd like to think this is kind of a moderate approach to the whole thing. I prefer this method, releasing a DLC that's just kind of like a patch or an update rather than a third game. So previously they've done things like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald was the third game. You know, you had to buy the third game. They did Black 2 and White 2, which was, you know, you had to buy the separate game. And the only difference really with those was you played through the exact same game a second time, and then you had a little bit of like post-game extra content that took like an hour or two, and that was the only difference. So I much prefer this method, you know, where you can just do a patch. You don't have to replay the whole game. You don't have to start everything from scratch. You can just kind of pick up exactly where you left off, pay an extra, I think they're charging $30 for the DLC pass.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's great. On the other hand, though, I can see it being a very slippery slope. A very slippery slope. In fact, I'm quite convinced that the original plan was to make, because each of the 2 passes, so there's like the Isle of Armor and the Frost Wilds or something. Each of these is bringing 200 Pokemon back from previous games. I am 100% convinced the original plan was to bar those Pokemon off and say you only have access to those Pokemon at all, period, if you purchase the pass. Interesting. The way it stands right now, they have said that you will have access to those Pokemon. They're doing a free patch for the game so that these, 400 Pokemon, when they are eventually released, you can still get them in the game via trading with other people, or if you have them in like Pokemon Bank or something from way back when, you can transfer them in through Pokemon Home. Yeah. So you still have ways to do it for free. I am 100% convinced the initial plan was to say the only way to get them is to buy the DLC. But because of all the crazy backlash and people like throwing fits, which I personally think to a degree.
Previous argument there with like you give us a product and we kind of say no to it.
Right. To a degree, what was an argument worth having. It was. There were a lot of people that took it too far. I will admit that. But I think it's a very slippery slope. If this DLC ends up selling well, if they sell hundreds of thousands of copies of this $30 DLC and they can see, we pretty much managed to just sell 200 Pokemon back to people, what are they going to cut from the next games to sell back in a $30 expansion pass? You know what I mean? And I mean, it's too early to, speak, but I mean, you see the way the gaming industry is heading. It's not too unheard of to do something like that. It really is not.
I mean, Bethesda's trying to change its model so that way it can have revenue throughout the year, so that way they can go as a public company and actually start selling stock.
Yeah. Yes.
It's kind of a weird, like, this is the not economic society, what's it called? Capitalistic society we live in, where that's kind of the goal and plan with a lot of things. as someone who doesn't play Pokemon, I've never played through a full Pokemon game. I've played a lot of the Red on an emulator before. I don't think it's unreasonable, and to your first argument, I agree with you, where it's much nicer to get 2 whole new regions to explore for $30.
For half the price of the original game.
For the half price of the original game and not have to buy a brand new game.
Right.
And the thing that was always frustrating for me growing up is because you've already beaten the game.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to, like...
Go
and
through
let's
it
be
again.
honest, like... Pokemon, depending on your game, can be pretty grindy. Like like I said, I'm about to fight the Final Four, and I'm like, my Pokemon are okay. Like if I want to, I could probably. I mean, I chose these Pokemon because I like them. Them, but they're not by any means good Pokemon. Sandslash, when has Sandslash ever been? Alolan Sandslash is good, but. You know, Gen 1 Sandslash, the strongest move he learns is Earthquake.
Sandslash became pretty unviable after 2nd generation.
Exactly. So,
yeah,
I have to grind out each of my Pokemon about another 10, 15 levels before I can confidently go and combat the Final Four and my rival. So, like, I would much rather not have to do that twice.
I will also say, to the credit of Pokemon Sword and Shield, I've never thought about playing a Pokemon game before until this one. I've seen gameplay of it. And this seems fun.
They put a lot into their marketing this time around.
I mean,
they
also
marketed
the gameplay seems more fun. Like the battles, like it took place in a gym against the owners. This one's like in a stadium now, and people start cheering. Like I had my friends bought it, and when they were in those like boss battles in the stadium, I was like, this is hype. I've never gotten excited in a fight before until now. Like, I feel like I'm watching a sport. Like, it feels great.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
I think aesthetically they did some cool things from just kind of like a basic mechanical standpoint. It was a port. It was a port from the 3DS is essentially what it was. They ported most of the assets and just upscaled them.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, don't do more work than you have to, I guess, but...
People are upset about it.
When you're the highest grossing IP on the planet, we're talking higher than Avengers, Marvel, all of Marvel, all of Star Wars.
They also got all their funding cut and sent to Pokemon Go, though.
That and Town. That was it.
Yeah.
Town and...
The loyalist company working for Nintendo, working on one of their biggest IPs, and Nintendo's like, we're going to take like a quarter to a half of your funding and give it to this app that's doing really well.
The app is the thing.
The app is still fun, but I mean, like, I wouldn't have given the funding from the main game to that.
You play Pokemon Go, right?
I do. I still play it. I still play Pokemon Go.
Do you play it?
Yeah, and I still play it too.
I still don't. But I know plenty of people that do.
Apparently, 2019 was the most profitable year for Pokemon Go to date.
I would have,
which is surprising.
I would have enjoyed a slower burn. I wouldn't have minded a slower burn on Pokemon Go to see this game have succeeded way more. So, like, I don't know. It seems like a weird move for Nintendo, but I'm not a business guy. I'm not in the company, so I can't say anything viable that would make any more sense than a tinfoil hat.
Like most things, time will tell. I probably will end up getting the expansion pass.
You'll probably end up working at Nintendo.
I don't know what the size of these areas is going to be, but I mean...
I hope they're big.
I do too.
I genuinely have high hopes. Nintendo does well with its games.
Nintendo is
It tries to do
It's
well.
the Pokemon company that's kind of being a stick in the mud right now.
I'm having faith. I mean, I haven't played Pokemon since Gen 4 because I thought they all started looking dumb. So, but I heard this and I was like, you know what? If you're gonna give us something good, like I'm happy for it. You know?
Yeah.
I genuinely don't feel like the Pokemon company is gonna try and get their money out of it. You know? They're gonna try and make money off of it, but they're not trying to make money from it. You know?
Yeah.
I worry a little bit for the future of the franchise. We'll see what happens. I think this whole Sword and Shield debacle was more of a learning experience for people than anything. It was kind of eye-opening.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to make Game Freak think twice before trying to rip their fans off. I'm not saying that Sword and Shield were they were blatantly trying to rip off, but again, it's a slippery slope.
Remember, like the earlier when we were talking about cutting the funding? That's a smart move from a publisher company because they're not in charge of PR.
Yeah,
Nintendo is, and Nintendo cut their funding, and so that's them being like, "Listen, we need that money to make a good game." don't do it again kind of thing, right? It's a shame the fans have to be in the car of the crossfire, though.
I do definitely think that Game Freak and the Pokemon Company wanted to see how much they could get away with. I definitely think they were testing the waters, and they wanted to kind of see,
also show how much the fan base cares about this.
Yeah, right. At what point have we crossed a line that's too much?
What do you think about that theory where there's two people in the boardroom and one person's like, they don't care about Pokemon that much, and one guy was like, yeah, they do, and then he offered a challenge, and this was the challenge, and someone got $20 more. I would
not be surprised to find that that's how this happened.
Inside the boardroom, told you, Jim. Fine, hands him like a $20 bill.
Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for us today. A little bit of a different format, kind of going back to our roots. This show started as a podcast. We've kind of come full circle, and we're going back to podcast format. Be sure to check out our website, geekwave.com, to see all of our other cool content. And also hit up our YouTube channel. We've got some really cool shows coming out. We've got Geek This Week, which is our weekly news show. It's a little bit more formal than this, not just kind of hanging out and chatting for a while. We've got anime, everything anime. I think it's everything anime. One of our newer shows. Our boy Gavin and Kendall talk about everything anime. And we've got Geeks Plays. It's our take on Let's Plays. So check those out, and be sure to tune in next time when we talk about other things that are also geeky.
Woo!
Geek out.